All right, let's talk about not raising mama's boys. So earlier today, Pastor Toby Sumpter posted a video on his channel, Having Two Legs, How to Be a Man. Do it myself. And it's on the topic of raising masculine boys, particularly from the angle of, well, not raising mama's boys, raising boys who do things themselves. And this is something that has been on my mind quite a bit lately, in several capacities. I have 3 teenaged sons right now, so currently in the middle of that. I coach high school boys, and I teach. And so as I make this video, if you're watching this, you may be thinking, is Joffrey talking about my kid? And my answer to that is maybe. So enjoy the vid. I want to keep it pretty straightforward, pretty simple. But before we do that, I'm going to actually play a clip from Pastor Sumpter's video.
A certain form of dense is what has always driven men to be missionaries, pastors, and martyrs. What I mean is a certain kind of stubborn, a certain kind of tenacity, courage in the face of danger, hope in the face of despair, resolution in the face of mockery, faith in the promises of God, and a certain kind of imagination that just won't quit. Boys who are encouraged to do things for themselves will fall down, fail, mess up, and they must be cheered on to get back up, to be tough, to take their knocks and bruises bravely, and to be undeterred from good goals. And some of those boys will die in battle. Some of those boys will die in a foreign mission field. And some of them will die of unexplained cancer. God is the Lord of all. And so it is that the gospel must be at the center of all of this. The center of all human history is the story of a man come to do it himself, because no one else could.
Okay, the story of a man who came to do it himself because no one else could. Now, he starts the video talking about 3-year-olds, and I encourage you to check out his channel and check out this video, his video. He starts talking about, 3-year-olds and how cute we think it is. And I'll do it myself, right? And, well, I'll let you watch the video for itself, okay? So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I might have started to unpack. I want to make a simple point, and that is this. Y'all, start making your boys do it themselves. I think a lot of Christian families are far more comfortable with giving their girls responsibility and making their girls do it themselves, particularly because the suppression of masculine do-it-yourselfness most often comes from the mother. And I think the big reason for that is when males do it themselves, it's a lot more risky. It's a lot more dangerous. And it seems like the easiest way to raise your child is to keep them safe and keep them from doing stupid things. And of course, I'm not telling any Christians to encourage their kids to do stupid things, but rather to understand that your responsibility in raising boys is to train them to do it themselves and therefore risk extra stupidity and certainly risk failure. Here's why the message of this video is relatively simple and relatively easy. I've been thinking, a lot about this phenomenon of boys who don't do things themselves, and where it sticks out is in the little things. So train your boys early on to be able to, say, cross the street by themselves. Don't open doors for your little boys. have your little boys do the things for you. Even if you can do it better and faster, even if your child is safer with you doing them. And as they get older, look for ways to have them do it themselves. Is there an issue at school that you realize is going to require the intervention of an administrator? Don't go speak to that administrator yourself. Make your child responsible for that. A 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old is completely capable of going through the chain of command, of talking to the teacher, of bringing something up to the vice principal. Is there a difficult conversation that has to be had with some other authority figure? Even if it's not controversial, there's no need for you to do it yourself. Ask your child to be the one to do it. And the child is going to have to be motivated by the fact that his problem will not be solved unless he addresses it himself. And if you're thinking about bullying right now, then this is exactly the sort of myopic, overprotective perspective that I'm talking about. I'm not thinking about bullying. Okay? I'm thinking about the complexities of life. Will there be times when you need to intervene? Absolutely. But by default, have your boy take it on himself. I'll tell you, there are two things that there's a thing that each of my older sons has done that I'm pretty proud of during their teenage years. I mean, I'm proud of many things that they've done. Good boys. But a couple that are relevant to this video. The first was a couple of years ago when my boy, who is now 17, wanted to start a business that I thought was a bad idea. And I told him I thought it was a bad idea. I discouraged him from doing it. But I made sure to leave it up to him. And he proved me wrong. And oh man, what a great moment that was. And he built a successful little business for himself. He was right. He knew the audience and he put in the work. What a great feeling. And, having that, thank God I didn't just squash it, right? So be looking for those opportunities to have things be open and encouraging your children to do things themselves. My second boy was in a robotics club in New Mexico, and then we moved here to Idaho, and there was no robotics club. And I said, well, start one. And he's gone out, and he has started a robotics club now in their second season. And it's way harder to be starting a club from scratch than to have. He was on a highly competitive, nationally and globally ranked team, and he was an important part of that team. Now, all of a sudden, he's starting from scratch, but now it's not just him, it's his team starting from scratch. And it's a different sort of satisfaction, but it's a sort of satisfaction that one could be afraid of. And has he needed more encouragement because of this? Absolutely. But he's gone out and done it himself. And that's praiseworthy and that's satisfying. So look for opportunities to have your boys do it themselves. There was a phrase that Pastor Sumpter said in the clip that I played, which was something like a creative imagination that cannot be stopped, or an imagination that cannot be stopped. That is extremely important. And imagination requires freedom, the ability to freewheel. And if you are, so I'm not talking about the sort of parenting that fences in and keeps everything tight, although that's relevant too. I'm talking about the sort of parenting that caters to the child and does everything for him. That's no good. that child will not have imagination. Imagination is developed in the crucible, and that gives confidence to the young man. You know, Pastor Sumpter mentioned a bunch of manly skills in his video. And I had none of those manly skills. Now, an ungenerous viewing of that would be, oh, gasp, he's defining manhood in a certain way, and he's saying I'm not a man. Come on. Strong imagination. I'm out there being manly, trying to be manly, and none of that there's no question here. I can guarantee to you that if you cater to your son, even if he loves to camp and can fix cars, he will always question his masculinity. You got to put them out there. You can't cater. So I've actually gone on for quite a while about this. The nut of the video is stop doing things for your boys. Make your boys do the thing themselves. Pastor Sumpter, I appreciate your video. Y'all go check out his channel. The peace of Christ be upon you.
Our educational system, and indeed our society as a whole, was destroyed in the 19th century by the German influence.
Really?
Ability as a concept turned into a mechanical, empirical construct. You may be a beneficiary of this system.